game against Duke at Cameron on Saturday. As you said, they try to bounce back, but they're here on the road in Winston-Salem, and this is a raucous atmosphere. Carolina and Wake from the Joel. Lee Cassell with the ball in hand. Pete Nance, Andrew Carr jumps center. Carr wins it, and away we go.
So the last couple of games, Steve Forbes, the head coach for Wake Forest, has gone with a smaller lineup. Now he's back to the more traditional big lineup because of the size of North Carolina's front line.
Appleby can't connect from deep to start. Yeah, 20 in white. Davion Bradford makes his first start since November. Meanwhile, the North Carolina starting five. Three guys that get at least 16 a game with the backcourt of Davis and Love. And this guy, Armando Bacot, spinning against one-on-one and rimmed out. There's Cam Hildreth. Caleb Love starts on him. First meeting between these teams back in early January. Leaky Black was on Cam Hildreth, but today it's Black on 30 in white. Damari Monsanto, who hit 8 threes in the Wake win Saturday against Notre Dame. Hildreth pivoting his way into a 3-second call.
Really good defense by Bacot, holding his ground, not fouling. Hildreth didn't have an outlet. North Carolina guarding one pass away once the ball went inside. Good D by the Heels.
Who won that first meeting in Chapel Hill at the beginning of January.
Watch Armando Bacot, how much he stays in constant motion, which is really tough to keep him off the glass as well because he's always moving.
One of the nation's best rebounders. Davis slashing, had it blocked by Bradford. Back to that big lineup, as you said, and Davion Bradford makes an impact. Leaky Black to pick and slam.
Great anticipation by Leaky Black, playing up the line in transition. That pass from one side of the floor to the other is too flat, and it takes too long. Great anticipation.
And turnovers were a big problem for Wake in the first meeting, especially late in the game against Carolina. Tyree Appleby with the first Wake points.
Well, he's so good at keeping R.J. Davis on his hip, right? I mean, he comes off that ball screen and he holds his position and locks up his hips with his to be able to get that free shot.
Post entry for Bacot, one-on-one, and Bradford commits the foul.
See, when Armando Bacot works that hard to get the ball and catches it that deep, you can't bring the double. He's too quick turning to score, and he buries Bradford in the paint.
So 2 minutes and 6 seconds into this game is when North Carolina will attempt its first free throws. And Hubert Davis pointed out multiple times post-game Saturday, and again with us here today, in the nice way that Hubert Davis always does, that they only shot 3 free throws against Duke.
It's hard to believe that North Carolina would only go to the line 3 times and not go to the line at all in the second half.
For a team that gets there quite a bit as Bacot splits at the stripe.
Well, North Carolina on the season averages, they make more free throws than their opponents attempt.
They extend some pressure here on Wake Forest, who handles it and sets up the offense, and Damari Monsanto stays hot from Saturday.
I mean, you got to really come and close the space on Monsanto. He made 8 threes in the Notre Dame win on the road.
One of the best three-point shooters in the country, 42% for the season, and he shoots a ton of them. Pete Nance gets to the post on Andrew Carr, and that's a good sign for Nance, who was quiet Saturday.
Well, that's what you call the Barclay. You just backs you down until he gets inside the paint and just turns and uses that frame to score over the top.
The king of the fadeaway, Pete Nance, the Northwestern transfer, who was held to 2 against the Blue Devils. Appleby through the lob for Bradford. Kansas State transfer going one-on-one with Armando Bacot. 2 and a foul.
That is a well-designed play by Steve Forbes because it's the ball screen and the roll to the rim and the lift on the strong side, which takes the tag away, which means you get the one-on-one inside. This is what you want, to try to take on Armando Bacot one-on-one and try to put him at a deficit defensively and try to draw that foul exactly like Bradford just did.
because you saw at the bottom of the screen, Leaky Black, he's got to worry about Damari Monsanto.
Yeah, when Damari sprints back up and lifts, that opens up that one-on-one opportunity inside.
Wake by 3, they force the Davis turnover. Hildreth pushes on the step through, and he's swatted by Black. Carr tries to rescue it, and Monsanto kept it alive. Carr on a baseline drive and blocked by Nance. Two blocks for the Heels, but the Deacs still with it. With the shot clock winding down, Hildreth no. Davis pulls up. Can't knock it down, rebound Carr. Appleby with Love on his hip. High off the glass with the left hand.
Absolutely beautiful. With his offhand, playing in that ball screen in the middle of the floor.
The lead is 5. Bacot spinning off the glass, and he wanted a foul as well.
What a move. I mean, Armando Bacot always knows where he is on the floor. When he catches, where he catches. He feels the contact on his backside with the defender. So good in the paint.
His first made bucket from the floor after he didn't attempt a field goal the final 12+ minutes Saturday.
See that play right there. Bradford's got to really challenge him. He's already put Armando Bacot put a foul on him early.
They bang on the block. Love kicks. Black hoists off target from that corner spot that he loves, and its last touch by Armando Bacot. Sends us to a timeout 5 minutes in here in Winston-Salem. Well, we told you about the stars coming in, and Tyree Appleby, he's got 4 for Wake Forest. Nicely done with the left hand. And Armando Bacot, one of the top scorers in the ACC. Of college basketball is presented by Progressive Insurance. It's easy to bundle your home and car insurance at progressive.com. Last year when these teams met here in Winston-Salem, it was a Wake Forest 98-76 win. Alondas Williams and company celebrated. And Armando Bacot said to us today that he remembered the locker room after that game. He said it felt like someone died. And he said to us, we thought our season was over. So as you compare through 23 games this year and last year for Carolina, take stock of them.
It's very similar, right? And so what does that tell you? That there's plenty of basketball left in front of them, and there's lots of opportunity with the race in the league so tight and with seeding for the NCAA tournament. Still a lot to be determined.
Out of a timeout, what do you want to see from them offensively?
Well, there's a substitution, so Trimble's on the floor. And, you know, I was interested in Caleb Love not getting any shots, but now he's not on the floor.
Bacot steps out and sticks a jump shot.
Well, the other thing that Hubert Davis told us today is that every possession down the floor, he would love for Armando Bacot to get a touch. So that was definitely the emphasis to start the game.
He said they need fast break points and they need paint touches. Marsh, a lob from Appleby. That is rinse and repeat with those two.
Yeah, and the 5 position for Wake Forest between Bradford and Marsh combined to shoot 85% inside. A lot of it is plays like that.
Marsh is the dunking deke. Bacot feeling it, no. Bobby Klintman, the freshman, climbs for the rebound, and Wake pushes up 3.
Bacot would be 0 for 5 from the season from 3.
Black the strip. Appleby hunting him down and commits a foul on Leaky Black.
Another good defensive play by Leaky Black. We got him for 2 steals right here. He just blows up that ball screen action. He does not let his player get to that screen for Appleby.
Leaky Black coming off his first career double-double, 13 and 10 for the 5th-year senior at Cameron on Saturday. Hey, coming up next, we'll take you to Rupp Arena for Oscar Tshiebwe and Kentucky, hosting Ricky Council IV and Arkansas. Oscar Tshiebwe, 15 more rebounds on Saturday. Country's leader in rebounding, then Zach Edey in 5th, Armando Bacot.
Yep, what a night, right, for boarding. on the boards. Armando Bacot here, Oscar Tshiebwe next.
Jalen Washington getting run with Bacot on the bench after a hot start. Black missed both. Appleby off the ball screen to the cup.
Well, he's just killing North Carolina right now in that middle third. Playing in that ball screen action, Tyree Appleby getting whatever he wants. He's been able to get all the way to the rim several times.
Steve Forbes always talks about the verb navigating for the work a guard does with ball screens and says Appleby's one of the best he's had. Davis short. Offensive rebound, Leaky Black.
And both teams are in drop coverage in that middle ball screen action. So R.J. Davis is going to have that mid-range jump shot available to him tonight.
Trimble moves it for Washington, who can step out and hit shots, but he swirled it out.
Oh, this is going up if you don't get a hand in his face quickly.
There it is. Monsanto short. Long rebound tipped out to Appleby in the backcourt. Monsanto again. Yes.
What a weapon he is for Steve Forbes' offense. It does not take him long to get his feet under his shoulders and quickly into his shooting form.
Offensive foul on Jalen Washington.
This is the kind of hustle you got to have at home. Look how quickly off the offensive rebound. The relocation and the score by Monsanto. It's a 7-0 Wake Forest run.
You said it, he hit 8 of them in South Bend, Indiana on Saturday. We asked him today, for the mere mortals among us, what does that feel like? He said, hey, it's a normal day. Appleby gets the roll, and the lead is 10 for Wake Forest here at home, and Appleby's got 8.
I don't think Steve Forbes could draw up a better shot chart for Tyree Appleby to start the game. Everything's in the paint right now off that middle action.
Dribble handoff for Caleb Love, and a floater. It's the side of the rim, and it belongs to Wake Forest on the other side.
Tyree Appleby, the second best scorer in the ACC, off to a great start. He's in the paint.
Over and say, what are you, 27, 28? You got a couple of kids. He's had quite the career, and what a player for Wake Forest this year.
I mean, when you look at Alondas Williams last year and Tyree Appleby, what a couple of great pickups by Steve Forbes in the portal.
He's got 4 buckets and has assisted on 2 others there.
And both those guys playing with the ball in their hands. And there's Monsanto. What a great find. It's the change of pace off that screening action. And Appleby, who also leads the league in assists, reads it so well.
The lead is 13. Love short at the rim. Hubert Davis has R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot on his bench right now as he searches. Underneath, it's Marsh.
North Carolina has got to change up their ball screen defense in the middle third because Tyree Appleby is absolutely killing them on a 14-0 run.
Love can't stop it. Offensive rebound, Black. And Carolina will slow things down. There's the freshman, Seth Trimble. Gives it off to Black. They're sitting on 9 points, 9 minutes in. Washington, the freshman, on the face-up.
Yeah, Hubert Davis told us today at shoot-around he wanted to get Jalen Washington some extra minutes. He really thinks the upside's absolutely incredible. He can stretch, he can shoot the 3, he's got range, and his minutes continue to get more productive.
Appleby on a step back. Too strong, rebound Black.
Yeah, I don't know why he took that shot. He's looking at Steve Forbes going, my bad, because he's had so much success getting around the corner on North Carolina.
Trimble on a step through to the rim. So you've talked about this ball screen and how Carolina has tried to defend it. What do they need to clean up against Appleby?
Well, they're going in drop coverage, so that means the screener's defender is standing at the logo. Well, they've got to be a little bit more active and try to turn him into a passer and not let him turn the corner there.
Davian Williamson got Trimble in the air.
But I also believe good offense always beats good defense. North Carolina might have to put more pressure on the ball, try not to let them use the screen, maybe consider a different coverage in the middle of the floor.
Caleb Love throws it away. It's a Carolina turnover, their third.
We know Tyree Appleby is dangerous off the bounce. He comes off the stagger on the top of the floor, and he throws back to Monsanto, who's wide open and organized. Leads the ACC in assists. He's got 4 so far in the game.
And now he attacks and left it short after Caleb Love had almost picked off the inbounds pass from midcourt. Love slices and is fouled.
That's a great take by North Carolina in transition before Wake Forest gets organized with their defense. Caleb Love catches it, immediately gets to that strong right hand off the bounce.
And you see it's 2 fouls on Davion Bradford, the 7-footer who had stepped into the starting lineup.
I think this is what North Carolina needs to do, Mike, is get to the free throw line right now.
Well, our next NBA Wednesday doubleheader starts in Boston with a big Eastern Conference matchup. Celtics and Sixers, 7:30 Eastern, and then Kyrie Irving, you may have heard, he's now with the Mavs. They take on the Clippers. It'll be Kyrie's debut. Our coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 7 here on ESPN and the app. How did they do that? How do they get to the line more?
I think they got to move the ball, reverse the ball, switch sides of the floor, make Wake Forest guard some closeouts, look to attack off the bounce, and play through Bacot now that he's back on the floor.
The lead is 11 for Wake Forest, 11 minutes in. Another guy who likes to Barkley his way to the cup, Cam Hildreth.
Wake Forest clears it out. They have the ISO on the strong side, and they just go to work.
First points for the sophomore from England, and then Bacot went spinning but couldn't finish.
Better pick up Monsanto.
Bobby Klintman will back it out and hand off to Appleby. Lob up top for Marsh.
Excuse me, that was Klintman on the floor. I thought that was Monsanto.
And a Marsh lob. He's got a half dozen, and Tyree Appleby is steering the ship. Davis with a tough shot, attacking. He saw 8 points, 5 assists for Tyree Appleby at the controls. Now Hildreth drops off for Marsh. Backing down on Bacot, who stays right with him, and Marsh scores anyway.
I mean, Marsh usually scores on putback, drop-offs, rim runs. That's a post move for Mike Marsh.
Coming in 55 buckets, and 45 of them were dunks for the 7-footer from England. Davis on a misfire. Appleby with his foot on the gas. Davion Williamson in the lane. Steve Forbes is fired up, and Hubert Davis needs a timeout.
Ball movement, playing in transition. The leave at the front of the rim.
On in complete control at the half.
Naheem Ali knocking it down from another area code. And Jordan Hawkins, he has 14 in this game. Last time these two teams played, he only had 8.
UConn feeling good. Wake feeling good early on. Back to Mike and Debbie in Winston-Salem.
All right, Kevin, thanks very much. Yeah, great day of college basketball. We've got 4 ranked on ranked matchups around the country on the men's side today. Steve Forbes and the Demon Deacons with the big lead. Armando Bacot cuts into it for Carolina.
Well, I love coming off the timeout, get the ball inside to Bacot, let him go to work, and then picking up some full court pressure, maybe to pick up a change in rhythm, take Wake Forest a little bit deeper into their options offensively.
Starting 5 on the floor for Hubert Davis. Hildreth left it short.
No Tyree Appleby coming off the timeout.
It's a kick to Cam Hildreth.
Good chance for Coach Forbes to give Tyree a few minutes on the bench.
And that's a rarity for Tyree Appleby, who's leading this Wake Forest team. You check out their resume. Big chance for them here at home. This represents a quad 2 as Bacot scores again for the Heels.
Now, I would go right to Armando Bacot until Wake Forest figures out how they're going to stop him. He's got 9. Here's a chance right now without Appleby on the floor to bust up some of that middle ball screen action.
Hildreth had some trouble with the handle. Backs down Love anyway. Love the rebound.
Good defensive patience by Caleb Love not to foul in that situation.
Love. No foul calls. The ball caromed off the underside of the backboard.
Yeah, that should have been out of bounds. I thought it hit the stanchion.
Wake attacks, and Williamson had it roll off. Tough catch for Bacot, spinning for 2 more.
That's an incredible pass by R.J. Davis, and a better catch by Bacot in traffic. A 6-0 Tar Heel run.
Inside of that Carolina huddle, trying to fire up his team, which is trailed by as many as 17 in this first half.
I thought it was a tremendous shoot around by Coach Davis today. It was locked in, an emphasis on how they were going to guard Monsanto and what they were going to do on the offensive end with Bacot. The last thing he said to him is, guys, just play together and play fun. Have some fun. Play like you're enjoying it.
With Appleby back into the game, Love had him locked up along the baseline, and now less than 10 to shoot. Hildreth backs it out against Davis. Off the car screen, a switch. Shot clock winding down on Appleby. Around and out, rebound Nance. Another possession, another Bacot touch. She keeps going to work, but he walked with it. It's a travel on Armando Bacot.
Caleb Love has the assignment right now on Appleby, and if Appleby gives it up, you need to face guard him and not let him get it back. I think that's what Hubert Davis was asking Caleb Love to do the last possession.
That's something that worked in the first meeting between these teams in January against Appleby. Seth Trimble, the freshman backup guard, played a big part in that, especially in the second half. Monsanto.
I mean, that is a thing of beauty. The way he gets his feet down and lets it fly. If you're a shooter, you know how hard it is to do what he just did.
He lit up Notre Dame, like we said. Mike Bray said there were some NBA shots from Monsanto as Love missed an easy one at the cup. Monsanto hunting another, and he gets fouled on the perimeter by Puff Johnson.
You see, that's what you got to do, is you got to close that space quickly on Monsanto, because he is going to let it fly. Uses the bounce, creates some separation, lets everybody know he's hot.
Came in with 76 made three-pointers, the most among all power conference players in the country. And now Andrew Carr gets involved.
See, that's a great play by Forbes, because Monsanto curls, and because he's playing so well, it just takes Pete Nance with the curl just enough to allow Carr to step out outside the three-point line.
40 points and counting for Wake Forest. One of the elite offenses in the ACC here in this first half. Davis turns it over.
R.J. Davis didn't turn it over at all in the Duke game. He's already got 2 turnovers early, which is very uncharacteristic of him.
Monsanto wanted another rundown by Nance. And Carolina is a team with 5 turnovers so far, with 3.5 to go in the first. Bacot again. He's got 13 and 6.
Just so good early work in transition. pushing Bradford up the lane and calling for the lob, and a terrific pass where only Bacot can get it before the help gets there.
And you said about doing the early work. Hubert Davis talked about that yesterday. They needed Bacot to be aggressive himself with his positioning to be in a position to get more touches.
Well, he's working tonight.
Bradford from Appleby on a gorgeous find.
Another good, just simple screen across the lane in front of the hoop. Good execution.
The two centers for Wake Forest, Marsh and Bradford, they have combined for 13 points. Love. Bacot tried to follow, and then it's last touched by North Carolina.
Boy, North Carolina has missed a lot of shots at the rim in this first half.
Wake by 17 against the Tar Heels here in Winston-Salem. Wake, like Fon said, has scored. Meanwhile, you see the 13 for Bacot. Nobody else with more than 2 for Carolina.
Well, Bacot definitely needs some help. They're going to pick up again with some full court pressure here and see if they can generate some turnovers or keep the ball out of Appleby's hands, make somebody else make a play for Wake. See, Caleb Love's got that assignment right there.
Can't stay with him as Appleby draws a foul on Armando Bacot. That is 2 on Bacot.
Well, Appleby is quick. He has a change of pace. He controls the ground. He reads the second level so well, and he's having no trouble getting 2 feet in the paint in the first half.
He talked to us today at shoot-around about the first meeting between these teams. A loss for Wake Forest in Chapel Hill, and he said, we thought we had that game, but they turned it over. That was the big problem for Steve Forbes' team in the second portion of that second half. And Appleby said the crowd played a big part in it. He said he could not hear anything in the Smith Center.
I mean, you look at that Wake Forest record, and it's a little misleading considering Duke, Pitt, and the NC State losses were all 1 possession, and the North Carolina 1 possession. And Caleb Love 0 for 7 in the first half. But you know what? I like what Hubert Davis did there, right? I mean, here's Caleb Love. You got to get him going, right? He's having some trouble finding some offense. So you're designing a play coming off the timeout that puts the ball in his hands in a place where you're dictating what shot you want him to take. He typically makes that shot.
5 for 15 shooting for him against Duke. He is 0 for 7 in this one. Black back iron, and the rebound to Appleby. Appleby, foot on the gas, and he is blocked by Caleb Love. And then Black saves it off of Carr to get Carolina possession.
See, that's the kind of hustle that Leaky Black brings to the equation for North Carolina. I mean, how about the D by Caleb Love, first of all, to not give Appleby 2 points at the rim. And you know, he always looks over at Coach Forbes. You can see how connected they are. My fault, I should have scored that, it's my bad.
Jalen Washington giving Bacot a blow, just came in and he couldn't handle it in the post, and a costly turnover. This is a big 90 seconds headed toward halftime. Appleby off the bounce, pivoting on Love and sends it back out toward Monsanto. 6 left to shoot for Wake.
That's good D right there when you stop the penetration and then everybody stays home and defends 1 pass away.
3 to shoot. Appleby hoists. Can't hit. Rebound Washington. Love still searching and still cold. Monsanto jacks, and he gets fouled by DeMarco Dunn. So 3 free throws coming for Damari Monsanto. I mean, you got to stick with Damari Monsanto. We told you how good he is. One of the best three-point shooters in the country in terms of how prolific he is, but then also in terms of volume. If you go back the last 30 years in the ACC, to attempt as many threes per game as he does and make at the clip he does, 41%. The only other guy as prolific and proficient as him is J.J. Redick.
That's impressive to be in the same sentence, right? And here's the thing, like Hubert Davis told us, if we're there on the catch, we're late.
Yeah.
We have to do our work much earlier on him. You got to find him quickly in transition. He's got incredible range. He's fun to watch. I mean, he's one of those players in the ACC. DJ Burns at NC State,
yeah.
Fun to watch, right? When the ball's in his hands, you think something's going to happen.
He is added to his total with 3 triples and then goes to the line, and he connects on all 3. He's got a dozen. The largest lead for Wake is 22, and then Carr forces the turnover by Love. 7th turnover for UNC. Monsanto's feeling it. Pulls up at the elbow. Rebound batted around and secured by Dunn, and Carolina can hold for the final shot.
They're going to go flatten it out. They're going to wait probably about 9 or 10 seconds, come with a flat ball screen. Let's see if Wake Forest will trap it, or if they'll switch to zone, or they'll give a foul.
Option C works as well. Just the 14th foul on Wake Forest with 10 seconds left in this first half. But Bacot still on the bench for Hubert Davis. Now Davian Williamson commits the foul. Who saw this coming for Carolina after the way Saturday went? Only 57 points in that loss at Cameron. Love finishes out the half 0 of 9 from the floor, and Wake closes the half on a 7-0 run and leads by 22 after 20 minutes. And for North Carolina, the largest halftime deficit of the season, as Tyree Appleby and the Deeks, they had their way in front of a raucous home crowd. Let's get you to the studio. It's the Jeep Halftime Report with Seth and Fonz.
Monsanto, because the ACC's leading assist playmaker in Tyree Appleby will kick it over there to Monsanto for a triple.
You see that last note from North Carolina in the last 15 seasons, their 3rd largest halftime deficit. And yes, it's February 7th. But you heard Joe Lenardi with the guys in the studio at halftime. He says they're already in the danger zone.
Well, here's the switch, and this is the adjustment. They're going to switch that action right now and see if they can keep Tyree Appleby in front. He gets the matchup with Bacot, and he gets all the way to the rim.
Right on cue, even with the changing defensive pick and roll coverage. And at this end, like you were talking about, the last 2 halves of basketball for the Tar Heels, their lowest scoring halves of the season going back to Saturday at Cameron. Hubert Davis told us every possession needs a Bacot touch, but he walks with it for the 2nd time tonight.
I mean, North Carolina throws it in there. They clear out. Wake Forest playing straight up. They played DJ Burns straight up also for North Carolina State. And so as long as Bacot and no one else is hurting you, it might be the strategy for Steve Forbes is to let Bacot get his and make sure no one else gets going, because Caleb Love and RJ Davis have really struggled shooting the ball in the first half.
And even though DJ Burns, the 275-pounder for NC State, even though he went for 31 in that game here against Wake, Steve Forbes still today stands by that decision not to double on Burns. Late shot clock, and Carr turns it over to Bacot. Here's Love attacking. And there's his first bucket after he went 0 for 9 in the first half.
Yeah, North Carolina needs to make this second half vertical, which means they got to get up and down, north and south, not just in transition, but looking to attack downhill off of their ball screen action.
I saw the note. They hadn't had a bucket in the last 3+ minutes of that first half. And Damari Monsanto can do it in the mid-range as well. And he looks over at Steve Forbes because he is feeling all kinds of confident for Wake Forest. Love into the mid-range off the Bacot screen, and he came up empty, and he will hear it from the Deeks faithful. Davis tries, and he is short. Black, another offensive rebound for Carolina, and Hildreth swipes it. And Cam Hildreth lays it in.
The same goes for Wake Forest, Mike. They're in drop coverage on that ball screen action. Caleb Love and R.J. Davis are going to have those elbow 15-foot jump shots. They got to make some shots.
And now it's an illegal screen set by Armando Bacot, so he's got 3 fouls.
And watch this steal by Cameron Hildreth. Does a great job getting the deflection and then finishes at the rim. And then Monsanto, look at this hard drive, this move behind his back, and then he pulls it and sticks it.
For the uninitiated, drop coverage is the post big defensively. He's just staying back and not going up where the screen is set. And now Bacot commits another foul, and he's got 4, the last 2 coming 13 seconds apart.
And that just looks like a frustration foul by Bacot. You know, that was one of the things we talked about with him today, was how he has been able to keep his focus, knowing he's the target. Teams are coming after him and not getting, you know, frustrated. He looked like he got frustrated on that one.
Because you're right, the face is always so similar, no matter the situation. Hildreth tried to muscle it up over Davis and couldn't, and it belongs to North Carolina. Feels very similar to the game Carolina played here in Winston-Salem last season. A 20-plus point loss for Hubert Davis's bunch. Nance kept it alive. Circles around on Bradford. Love knocks it down.
I mean, if anyone needed to get some confidence, it's Caleb Love right now. I mean, he needed to see a big basket. That's his first 3-pointer.
And Carolina's first 23 minutes into this ball game. Lob. Carr from Tyree Appleby again. Tough to handle for Nance, and Hildreth pulls it away. He attacks on a Euro. Didn't get the roll. Black behind the back. Now kicks for Davis. R.J. Davis to the cup on a reverse. Appleby going right to the rack. Back iron against Love. Love starting to feel it. Wanted another, and then it's last touched by Pete Nance. Well, everything is coming up. Wake Forest here tonight against North Carolina. The lead at 23 against the Tar Heels.
He's smart, and he understands their offense. He puts R.J. Davis in jail. Then he turns the corner right here on all the Carolina blue. Throws it back. Bradford playing in that ball screen action. High off the glass. He's taken on anybody that gets in his way. He has been fantastic reading the North Carolina defense. It's been a clinic.
You look at what he and Damari Monsanto have done combined compared to North Carolina. Stuck on 32 points and down big early on second half. As Appleby gets fouled and he grimaces and is slow to get up. A guy who hardly comes off the court for Steve Forbes. Last 6 games, he's played all but 3.5 minutes. Through some pain at different times this season.
Well, he carries a huge offensive load for Coach Forbes. He's in command of their tempo. He sets the tone with their D.
When he told us today that in the first meeting against North Carolina that they got sped up, you said, boy, you have even a faster speed than the one you normally play at?
Well, I mean, you look at his numbers, he's 0 for 4 outside the 3-point line. And he's more dangerous, I think, getting in the paint. So the way you guard him in screening action, you saw the adjustment from North Carolina to switch the start to second half. He's tough in that middle third.
Hubert Davis is searching. He's got the freshman 24 in blue, Tyler Nickel, into the game for the first time in this one. Leaky Black, long 2-no. Rebound secured by Matt Marsh. And he gets wrapped up. And Carolina gets tagged for the foul.
Steve Forbes, that shoot-around worked on their press offense. He also, both coaches spent a lot of time on situations today at their practice.
We talked about how pressure played a big part in the first meeting, and Wake Forest only 4 turnovers throughout the game to this point, 25 minutes in. A switch of Nance. Onto Appleby off that ball screen.
He gets the switch he wants, and he just gets to the paint off the bigs. He waits till there's a big on him, and then he explodes to the rim.
Love driving to the rim.
Yeah, that's a great take by Caleb Love. That's the vertical play I'm talking about. But look how quickly Wake is back at it.
Up top for Marsh.
Coming into the game, Matthew Marsh and Bradford were combined 80 for 94 from the floor for 85% from the 5 position because of the shot selection like this. Bigs that run, that screen and roll, that make themselves available on the offensive glass.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. 85% from that position. And those two have stepped up in a huge way in this one. They've combined for 15, with Marsh supplying 10 of those. Bobby Klintman moves it for Carr. Rebound Black.
Well, North Carolina really trying to accelerate through their pace, right? They're trying to push the ball in transition. They're trying to go a little quicker here on the offensive end. And they're definitely being aggressive trying to get to the rim.
Puff Johnson does just that. Takes a hard fall as he gets fouled.
You know, last year North Carolina shot 36% from the three-point line. This year's 30%. It definitely has changed the space in their offense.
38% from the floor in this one. Hey, another full afternoon of college basketball Saturday here on ESPN and the app, highlighted by our first 3 games. Kentucky, Georgia starts us off noon Eastern. Then number 3, Alabama and Auburn. The game day crew will be there to start the morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. And then here in the ACC, 8th ranked Virginia hosts Duke.
Have you ever been to Auburn for a Bruce Pearl show?
I have not, but
well,
that sounds like an apt description.
It is fantastic. They will be fired up for game day for Reese and the guys.
Klintman tried to rip down the rim. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. It always is when those two play one another, as Puff Johnson draws a blocking foul in the paint. And then a big one in the ACC. 8th ranked Virginia against Duke, who ran into that Miami buzzsaw last night in Coral Gables.
I had to double check the score when I saw it pop up after the game I had last night in Raleigh for the Play for K at NC State. I looked up and I was a little bit surprised. Although, I will say this. I do think Virginia is the best team, and I think right now Miami and NC State are close. They split in the regular season, and Kevin Keats has his team playing their best basketball right now. I mean, NC State's won 8 of their last 9. They're hot.
What a huge showdown that is. Coming up less than an hour from now over on ACC Network, 9 o'clock Eastern time tip. NC State, as hot as they are, to your point, against Virginia, who's trying to respond after losing in Blacksburg over the weekend.
I'm anxious to see what Tony Bennett does with DJ Burns. You know, they always double the block, but DJ doesn't catch it on the block. He catches it in the mid-post off the lane. Are they going to double that? And then their ball screen coverages on Joyner and Smith for NC State. Those guys have jets.
It is an electric offense led by that backcourt, and then you factor in Burns, who's playing more minutes now for NC State, and they are surging. Shot clock winding down, and Hildreth couldn't finish with the left hand. It's down to 19 with still 13+ minutes to go here in Winston-Salem.
Got to keep chipping away. You're trying to cut that 22-point halftime deficit in half by around the 10-minute mark. You can see North Carolina picking up their pace right here. They're on an 8-0 run right now.
After the bucket from Pete Nance. And Carolina trying to keep it out of the hands of Appleby. And Carolina picks up a foul. It's on Puff Johnson. So that's 3 on him with 13 to go, and already the 1-and-1 for Wake Forest.
That's really early to put a team in a bonus. You know Coach Davis can't be pleased with that. Bacot picking up those 2 quick fouls, and he went straight to the bench, which gave him 4. That's why he's not playing right now. I don't know how long Coach Davis is going to wait to put Armando back in the game. I think you kind of wait to see if you can make a run and make a game of it, right? And if you can get a little closer and maybe get it to a 4 or 5 possession game, maybe that's when you see him.
Appleby poked it away from Love. Puff Johnson went diving for it, and then Appleby swiped it and gets fouled by Nance.
Wake Forest fans had a little issue with the hustle play right here and the foul by Nance. It's a foul, play on the ball, hard foul, play on.
Yeah, there's no such thing as the clear path in the men's college game.
No.
So if it's anything, it would be a flagrant 1 in that case, and certainly not. And Appleby makes good on the front end of the 1-and-1. 84% free throw shooter. And if you're just joining us, Armando Bacot still sits with his 4 fouls. Appleby makes both. Seth Trimble has come into the game, and he will run the point here for Carolina with Love off ball. Nickel off the screen, back for Nance. Strong finish.
A good note call as well. That's the principle of verticality at the rim. Good finish by Nance.
He's got a half dozen here in the second half, part of his 8 total, to go along with 6 rebounds for North Carolina. Appleby trying to shake free. He rises. Can't hit. Rebound Trimble. Trimble off the bounce, and he's blocked by Carr. Carolina trying to inch their way back and slice into the hefty deficit in Winston-Salem.
He's got IQ, and he's got a lot of speed around him and a lot of shot makers.
You heard Joe Lunardi with the guys in the studio at halftime talking about what this would do for North Carolina if they end up losing by a large margin, as Nance misses and then commits a foul. That he puts them in the danger zone. And then Joey Brackett said that with a Wake Forest win, it would move them from what he calls considered to sort of onto the board in his next 4 out.
I mean, Wake was going from Joe Lunardi's not being in the conversation to now they are. And should they be able to hang on here as Bacot sits with 4 fouls, be a huge win for Wake Forest. And a split with North Carolina, which could factor into the tiebreaker for the ACC tournament.
Wake Forest started 6-2 in the league in year 3 under Steve Forbes. Then a 4-game losing skid against really a challenging gauntlet. It included, as you said, 3 straight 2-point losses. And then they bounced back on Saturday in South Bend, Indiana against Notre Dame. Nance fires. Back iron. Long rebound to Tyree Appleby. Monsanto, the quickest trigger you will find in the ACC. Davis is probing. He's got Carr on him. Can't connect from deep. And for R.J. Davis, 2 of 8 from the floor.
Yeah, see, R.J. has that logo pull-up mid-range, and he circles back out because he got the switch with Carr on him, and he takes a tougher shot.
4 games in a row now where his shooting struggles continue. A guy who was so key in the first meeting against Wake Forest in Chapel Hill had a huge second half. Out of bounds it does stay with Wake with 8 to shoot.
There's a change of ball screen coverage defensively with the trap on the side. I mean, you want to deny Appleby. It's very challenging to do. He's very quick. He knows how to take the right angle, and he definitely knows how to get the basketball to make plays.
Can only trap on that side ball screen, though, right?
Yeah, you can't trap in the middle.
Monsanto straight on. Nance the rebound. It's Trimble, Nickel, Nance, Black, and Davis, the 5 on the floor for North Carolina midway through the second half. And R.J. Davis draws a blocking foul on Andrew Carr. R.J. Davis, quiet again, like we said. He's a guy, I know his game you absolutely love.
I do. I think he answers what I call the 3 W's. Who to get the ball to, when and where. He's good in their ball screen offense. Having a tough night tonight.
4 points, 3 turnovers for the junior guard.
And Caleb Love's having a tougher night.
3 for 15 shooting now for Caleb Love, and Carolina's had an opening. Wake has only made 1 of its last 10 shots, but the lead's still large. And adding to it as Bobby Klitman scores.
That's what I'm talking about.
Love got blocked by Carr. There is a pace to the way that Wake Forest runs its offense in the half court. Appleby stop and pop and hit. He's got 19 to go along with 9 assists. Davis a floater to respond.
That's a good decision. That's what I was talking about earlier about R.J. Davis in that middle ball screen, getting to the logo area and pulling up and knocking down that shot.
Seth Trimble tries his hand on Tyree Appleby. We chatted with Appleby today. He had a ton of praise for the freshman's defense on him the first time and said he was great.
Yeah.
He was face guarding me up and down the floor.
He said, I'm not going to lie. He played good defense.
Oh, what a reverse by Seth Trimble at that end of the floor. He is an exciting player in large part for what he has done already on the defensive end as Davis fouls Appleby.
Free throws. Seth Trimble has not scored in the last 6 games. And he makes this play right here. Look at the athleticism to get to the other side of the rim.
Leaky Black has talked about how he gets so low defensively. He credits the quads for Seth Trimble being able to lock guys up. He was number 49 in our ESPN 100 out of Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. And Armando Bacot returns to this game with 8:51 to go. So he had sat since the 17:23 mark in this second half.
I mean, the other thing you could do with him at this point in the game, Armando, is, put him in on offensive possessions. And Wake Forest is going to shoot 2 the rest of the night at the line.
Appleby splits. So you want to see offense through Bacot, right? With him back into this game.
Always.
The margin 20. Still 9 minutes to go here in Winston-Salem at the Joel. Bacot comes up to set another screen. This time for Davis on a step through, and he gets fouled. And R.J. Davis will shoot 2.
See, North Carolina runs their ball screen offense in the slot area. And what it does is, by the second time that Armando Bacot comes through to set that ball screen, everybody else is cleared out. So you got 2 side and 3 on the other side, and you take the help away so that your 2 best players, R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot, in the ball screen offense can go to work.
Talked about R.J. Davis and his season. He suffered a dislocated finger right before the start of the season in late October, so that explained part of the slow start to the season shooting for him. Then he got hot, and then against Syracuse dislocated the same finger again, and he's been quiet over these last few games.
But his offensive numbers in ACC play have been better. His percentages in shooting the basketball from 2 and from 3 have been good inside conference play.
They've got it down to 18 as Trimble got a block on Appleby and then goes for a piggyback ride.
Monsanto standing in the corner saying, hey, I'm right here. You missed me.
Which might be a recurring comment, you have to imagine, with Damari Monsanto.
I bet Appleby hits him next time down.
Yeah. Boy, they are some of the fun personalities on this Wake Forest team. We were talking with Appleby a few weeks ago before their game against Pitt, and he was talking about Monsanto and said, yeah, he's one of the best shooters I've ever played with, but boy, does he get on my nerves.
Well, you know, he had a little issue early on. He's had some adversity, has had to overcome, and you know, Steve Forbes sat him and didn't play him. And then since then, coming into the game, since the LSU game, he's made 53s. So he's done his damage once conference play started.
Love gets the roll.
Again, it's that elbow mid-range.
Appleby gets bumped, no foul. Love stayed with him, and he sends the hit ahead to Trimble, who bobbled it. And now a kick on Hildreth, so Wake Forest will take that for transition defense, and it sends us to a timeout. It's been that kind of night for North Carolina.
Two back to Mike and Debbie in Winston-Salem.
All right, Kev, thanks very much. Yeah, here in Winston-Salem at the Joel, Debbie Antonelli, Mike Monaco, our entire crew with you. This game produced by Kevin Clark and directed by Charlie Reynolds. 17-point game. Wake Forest has been in control. Armando Bacot can't get it to go, and the rebound to Damari Monsanto. If you're just joining us, Tyree Appleby has been in control. 20 points, 9 assists for the Wake Forest point guard, who gives it up to Cam Hildreth for a Deacs offense that has been humming.
So you got the switch, you got Bacot, and you drive him with those 4 fouls.
And yank it back, but he missed the jump shot. Leaky Black off the bounce on Monsanto. Backs him down, fighting for space. Bacot the offensive rebound, and he will go to the line for a couple of free throws.
Armando Bacot averages 5 offensive rebounds a game. That's his 4th offensive rebound. Keep in mind, he scored 13 of the 25 first half points for North Carolina. He has not scored here in the second.
Yeah, you talk about his offensive rebounding, and we know about his rebounding overall. It's been this way for 4 years. So it fits that, what does he have on his right leg? But a tattoo of Dennis Rodman. He let us take this photo today. He told us it took 5 hours to do that and come to completion. Someone he idolizes, and he's got it stamped on that right leg. Appleby, another lob, and Davion Bradford gets fouled by R.J. Davis. He's got Tony Montana on the other side of the same leg. One of the great personalities across college basketball. There you go. A couple of free throws for Davion Bradford. 54% for his career. Hey, looking ahead at some upcoming women's basketball games for Wake Forest and North Carolina. Over on ACC Network, the Deacs host number 22 NC State Thursday night, 8 Eastern. And then Sunday, number 14 Carolina, led by Courtney Banghart, against Boston College in Chapel Hill at noon Eastern.
NC State on the struggle bus a little bit. Wake Forest has won 3 of their last 4. Megan Jebbia has done an outstanding job in her first year at Wake. And North Carolina's down a couple of starters on the women's side. BC's a young team that's getting better.
Sounds like maybe upset alert tomorrow here. Davis had it partially blocked by Andrew Carr, closing out on the three-point try. Still just that one made 3 for North Carolina that came from Caleb Love early on in this half. And a 16-point cushion for Wake Forest coming up on 6 to go. A lob for Bradford. And he finishes with the right hand.
I mean, Wake Forest is just doing such a great job of reading the switches, and that's the second half adjustment by Hubert Davis. They were in drop coverage in the first half on that ball screen action, and Tyree Appleby ate them up. And in the second half, they've been switching. So Appleby's been getting a big on him, and he's just been taking him to the paint.
Caleb Love wanted a foul as well after he got that to drop. And then Davis hounding Hildreth. And through it all the changes from Carolina's ball screen coverage, Tyree Appleby has navigated it. On the pitch back, Carr can't knock it down. Rebound, Bacot.
Andrew Carr's had some open looks from 3. He's a very good three-point shooter from that stretch 4 position.
Love too strong. Bacot can't follow, and it's clutched by Davion Bradford.
Bradford and Marsh have held their own tonight in the middle for Wake Forest.
They knew the assignment going up against Armando Bacot. That ball touches the official along the sideline. So it's blown dead right in front of Steve Forbes with a front row seat.
You know, Wake Forest started the game and really took control early. Quickly got out to a 10-point lead. And North Carolina just hasn't had it tonight at all.
Appleby's got Bacot on him. Shot clock winding down. Davis the rebound. Puff Johnson on the drive with the drop off for Bacot, and he finishes plus the foul.
You know, I'm looking at Tyree Appleby's numbers as we take a look at Armando Bacot, making himself available on the baseline penetration, using the board. Appleby is 0 for 6 from the three-point line. And think about all that ball screen coverage in the first half and how North Carolina defended it. He got in the paint at will. I think there's a different formula that might work moving forward to try to guard him. He's really challenging to keep him in front.
He's got a double-double. Damari Monsanto can knock this one down. He's got 3 of them already, and Carolina down just 14. Still 4 minutes to go. They push. Davis draws a blocking foul on Cam Hildreth.
It'll be
Carolina
free throws.
hanging around.
Yeah, free throws.
They will go to the line when we come back to Winston-Salem after this. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Progressive Insurance. It's easy to bundle your home and car insurance at progressive.com. Great Coach Greenberg, he is fired up. Well, we did a game a couple of weeks ago that had Pitt hit 18 threes. That is the type of shooting you would love.
Oh, I love that kind of offense. Now, I'm telling you, Buzz Williams and Texas A&M right there picked to finish 6th in the SEC. They're making a push, right? They've been playing well. Keeping an eye on that.
Yeah. How about that stretch for Auburn? We told you about the one they have coming this weekend with a top 5 opponent in just Alabama with game day in town. Still 3:57 to go with R.J. Davis at the line. This is as close as this game has been in the second half, and it's down to a dozen. Wake Forest has taken care of the basketball. Just 1 turnover this half, just 4 for the game, but only 8 made shots since halftime and 0 of 8 from 3 in the second half. Appleby gets underneath and draws a foul. And if it's on Bacot, it's 5.
You know, it was a good use of the timeout by Steve Forbes because his team was getting a little too casual for a couple of possessions. And that's, again, Tyree Appleby all night getting to the paint on North Carolina's defense.
Armando Bacot was so big early in this game for North Carolina. Didn't have a whole lot of help around him. He exits with 17 and 11. And in the second half, only able to play 8 minutes because he picked up his 4th foul. Not even 3 full minutes out of halftime. Appleby misses both. For a guy who's 84% from the line this season. And now Love takes Carr off the bounce and gets it to go, and it's down to 10. And Hubert Davis will take a timeout with the Wake Forest led by as many as 26. North Carolina has it down to 10, but they've got to proceed without Armando Bacot.
Well, and so they can go small and quick, pick up some pressure, put some game pressure on Wake Forest, which they've done. Now keep in mind, Wake Forest has only turned the ball over 4 times in this game.
And only once since halftime. Wake Forest feathers that one into Tyree Appleby. Tyler Nichols still in the game for North Carolina. Seth Trimble, that great on-ball presence. He's on the bench because Wake Forest does have plenty of size. Remember, there's that 3-guard lineup for North Carolina in the second half that forced Wake Forest into so many turnovers the first meeting a month ago.
This is a small lineup on the floor for Wake Forest as well. There's
Carr.
the switch.
Couldn't get it to go over Love, and the heels run. Love pulls up. Back iron, and the rebound to Appleby.
North Carolina 1 for 12 outside the 3-point line. So you just take it down deep into the shot clock, look for that switch.
A dump off to Carr.
Or that.
The 11th Ty Appleby assist for Wake Forest. Nickel off the glass, no. Puff Johnson the follow, and it's back down to 10, ticking toward 2 minutes remaining. Boy, risky inbound to Hildreth, and then he skips it for Carr, walking the tightrope. And Appleby is fouled by Caleb Love, his second, so a couple of free throws for Ty Appleby.
Tyree Appleby puts his defender in jail, draws the help, reads the second level so well.
He is 8 of 12 at the free throw line in this one.
The third level would be getting to the paint, drawing help, and then kicking it out. He hasn't even had to do that tonight because he's been able to be so effective in the middle of the floor, scoring against North Carolina in the paint.
Hey, coming up next, we will take you to Rupp Arena for Oscar Tshiebwe and Kentucky against Arkansas. With 1:59 to go here before we get you to Lexington. I mean, how would you like to be a point guard and come play in this Steve Forbes offense with what's happened here the last couple of years? Puff Johnson off the bounce on Klintman. Nance ran it down, and then he gets fouled. Looked like Cam Hildreth got him. It is on Hildreth, and Pete Nance to the free throw line. That's 4 on Cam Hildreth. Pete Nance's first trip to the stripe, 79% this season for the fifth-year senior. And he misses the first. Seth Trimble enters this game for nickel and will bring some defensive pressure with him.
Got to be ready to rebound here.
It's a split at the stripe, 11-point game, and Trimble hounding Appleby. Appleby trying to coax a foul call from Lee Cassell, and he does right near midcourt. I mean, Wake Forest last year had Alondas Williams. All he did was win ACC Player of the Year. He had so much freedom in this offense, and now they inject Ty Appleby, and he's got 11 assists of his own in this game, 4 more than Carolina as a team.
Well, North Carolina obviously hasn't shot it well. They've missed 41 shots. They have offensive rebounded 14 of those. And without Bacot on the floor, they still, for the majority of the game, they still have been able to control the glass. But the difference in the margin is that Wake Forest hasn't turned the ball over. 4 times, as you mentioned, only once in this half. Looks like Steve Forbes is going to call timeout.
With the lead at 13 for Wake, trying to secure a huge win at home.
Wake Forest in the conversation to now they're back on the board.
Tyler Nickel gets fouled in the corner by Damari Monsanto with still 1:37 remaining. When you look at Wake, what do you see them as down the stretch in the regular season, and how much of a threat in the ACC tournament, and if they get to the NCAA tournament?
Well, it's all about matchups, who you play when and where. And Steve Forbes knows he's got a couple of principal pieces that are really important to be able to make a run. That is great point guard play, good size up front that rebounds and scores in the paint. Monsanto, who can be a wild card in terms of his ability to make threes. You know, he can get hot. He can make a lot, like he made 8 against Wake Forest, against Notre Dame.
Tyler Nickel steps up. He makes all 3 to trim the gap to 10 with still over 90 ticks left for North Carolina making a push.
And Hubert Davis going offense-defense here, getting Trimble back on the court.
He sticks with Cam Hildreth, who gets fouled. And Cam Hildreth will go to the line for the first time in this game. 76% for the season. He was frustrated a couple of weeks ago by some big ones he missed late against Pitt.
Keep in mind, he did have a triple-double this year, too, so he has multiple ways he can help Wake Forest win.
Sophomore from Worthing, England, who has been one of the most improved players in the ACC this year.
Nickel back in for offensive purposes.
Hildreth splits the lead 11, 1:32 left. R.J. Davis is fouled by Cam Hildreth, who has fouled out of this game with 1:27 left.
Great job by R.J. Davis in transition to turn the corner on Hildreth. A combined 50 free throws in the game so far tonight. That's a lot of free throws. Part of it is because Wake Forest was in the double bonus so early, around the 12-minute mark in the second half.
Nice hand for Cam Hildreth, always so tough. for this Wake Forest team. He departs. Replaced by Davian Williamson. R.J. Davis, an elite free throw shooter. Second best in the ACC at 86%, and he's 5 of 5 tonight.
He makes this one. It's a 3-possession game. That's the kind of game pressure North Carolina has put on Wake Forest here late. Nobody's left the building.
It is down to 9 and 3 possessions. And Carolina with Seth Trimble committing the quick foul on Tyree Appleby, who is 12 of 16 at the free throw line in this one. Brian O'Connell giving an explanation to Steve Forbes before the Appleby free throws. What was it, like 13 minutes left in this game when Wake Forest went into the single bonus here in this second half?
Yeah, I think it was around the 12, 13 minute mark. That's why we shot so many free throws.
.37 combined fouls here.
So North Carolina's going to push and look for Nickel to fill behind the R.J. Davis push for a 3.
Tyree Appleby with 11 assists and 26 points here tonight for Wake Forest. And now Keith Kimball and Lee Cassell get together for a conversation. And you see for Appleby, he also has 6 rebounds. Only ACC player in a league game this year, 25 and 10. And it looks like, has a fan been tossed here from the front row courtside?
I think so.
Well, that's some unpleasant things to say, apparently. Davis tries the corner again and does that again to draw a foul, and with the chance to score with the clock stopped.
I mean, North Carolina is doing a good job of extending this game to the best of their ability right now. Getting to the line, clock stop, second best free throw shooter in the league.
And Davis makes another. Another swap for Hubert Davis. Defense for offense. Nickel out, Trimble in. As Carolina has done just that, extending this game down the stretch. 8 for 8 at the line for R.J. Davis. Quick toss ahead, and Davis taps it back to himself. Davis pulls up. Can't knock it down. Battle on the boards, and Appleby secures it for Wake Forest. Appleby is finally fouled by R.J. Davis, who had a golden opportunity for the Tar Heels.
That inbounds pass by Monsanto is not going to look pretty on film tomorrow. But the effort of Tyree Appleby and his escapability, taking time off the clock.
So Appleby at the line. He's already made 14 free throws. He makes the first. We go to Kevin in the studio.
A reminder, our audience, coming your way, Kentucky hosting Arkansas. Tip-off over there in Lexington right now. Over on the ESPN app, you can watch that game. And then, once we're done in Winston-Salem, we will go live to Arkansas at Kentucky. Back to you.
All right, Hogs and Cats fans, we promise we will get you to Rupp. Once this goes final, a minute to go in regulation. Wake by 11. Carolina won't go quietly. Caleb Love straight on for 3. Just the second made 3 of the game for North Carolina, and they've got it down to 8.
What a great rally by the Heels here late in the game. They didn't look like they had much life. And then all of a sudden, the full court pressure starts to wear on Wake Forest. And they extend the game by fouling. The second triple of the game for North Carolina. Caleb Love has 16 second-half points.
For a Carolina team, you see the resume according to Joey Brackets, who was talking at halftime about Hubert Davis's team approaching the danger zone. Well, they have rallied. They have trimmed this all the way down to 8 here in a quad 1 opportunity for the Tar Heels in Winston-Salem.
Well, Wake Forest here, you got to cut hard. And for North Carolina, you might want to trap and see if you can get a steal before you commit a foul.
Love commits the foul on Tyree Appleby, who has made a living at the free throw line these last few minutes. 16 of 20 at the stripe. Seth Trimble is trying to face guard him on the inbounds and just can't find a way to prevent Appleby from getting his hands on the ball. Sixth-year senior, the transfer from Florida, Tyree Appleby, second in the league in scoring. And boy, has he stuffed the stat sheet in this one here tonight. 29 points.
So Wake switching on everything, no threes.
I told you the 2 threes for Carolina. They have both come from Caleb Love as Appleby connects again. 52 seconds left for North Carolina. Love tries a deep one. Hits that as well. And the final timeout used by Hubert Davis. And North Carolina just won't go away.
What fight in the Tar Heels here late. Wake Forest not able to put them away. The full court pressure has had an impact. Their ability to extend the game by committing fouls, even though Wake's in the double bonus. North Carolina is 1 for 12 from three-point line until Caleb Davis hits the last 2 triples.
And Love with a huge second half. 19 of his 21. And if you're just joining us, North Carolina trailed by as many as 26 in this game against Wake. They were down 22 at halftime, their 3rd largest halftime deficit in the last 15 years. And Wake Forest hasn't been able to get the shots to fall here in this second half. And now they've managed the North Carolina pressure on every inbounds. How does North Carolina get that turnover? Because right now they're trading points.
Well, the other thing is, you know, Armando Bacot is not available. He is fouled out of the game. He's only played 7 minutes here in the second half with foul trouble. But you got to find Caleb Love. Now he's seeing a big basket. And for North Carolina not making any triples, it's not how many you make them, it's when you make them.
They are running right with Appleby, and before the inbound, the foul is called, and it goes against Caleb Love. So that's his 4th, and Appleby goes straight to the stripe. I mean, Appleby just finds a way to break free on every inbound.
Well, he's so quick. He reads the angles. They had 2 guys trying to keep him from catching the ball, and he still was able to get it. Now, that foul was committed making a play going towards the ball, so it's still 2 free throws.
And good on the first for Tyree Appleby, who's got 31 points, 19 of them at the free throw line. And you can feel the pain for Steve Forbes on his sideline, just trying to get to the finish line here at home.
I think you got to make North Carolina come back to the ball here. Don't let them walk the ball up the floor or roll the ball up the floor. You're giving R.J. Davis a full head of steam here.
And now Love steps into a 3. Comes up short. Davis to Nance underneath. 35 seconds left, and Trimble bumps Appleby on the baseline.
What a play by R.J. Davis to tap that loose rebound to Pete Nance under the bucket.
Seth Trimble is fouled out of this game. I mean, Davis climbed at 6 feet even, and found Nance underneath.
I mean, what effort by North Carolina to extend this game and to continue to just chip away.
Well, Appleby has been battered in this second half. Second half alone, he's 19 of 23 at the free throw line.
I mean, that's a lot of free throws. But North Carolina got back in this game because they changed the rhythm of the game by full court pressing and extending the game by fouling to make it a single-digit deficit.
Appleby's 22nd made free throw of the game, 20 of them this half. Davis again around the corner, and he gets the roll. 29 seconds left. Steve Forbes can't believe that the horn just went off. North Carolina is out of timeouts, but gets a stoppage here.
Allows the Heels to set their D.
That is not the home cooking that Steve Forbes wanted. 7-point game. Monsanto gets rid of it quickly to Appleby, who is just dancing and feeling confident. And like you in May, he is parked at the free throw line.
Yeah, he's shooting them at a pretty good clip, too. 22 for 26. He's got 7 boards, 11 assists, 34 points for Tyree Appleby. And if you didn't see the way he played in the first half, he was really untouchable with a basketball. He scored at will in the paint against North Carolina. An impressive show in their ball screen offense. He only has 1 turnover in the game as well.
A 23rd made free throw for Tyree Appleby. And how about the note here? 4th ACC player in the last 25 years with 30 and 10+ assists. He misses that time. So it's an 8-point game coming up on 20 seconds to go for North Carolina, trying to make it a 2-possession game. Nance is blocked by Carr, and he tips it to Appleby. And Williamson is fouled by Puff Johnson. And this place can sense it at long last.
I wasn't sure North Carolina could have made a game of this midway through the second half. And they rallied. I mean, Wake Forest is going to be glad that there's not 2 more minutes left on the clock.
It'll be a 3rd straight loss for North Carolina. Pitt, Duke, and now here at Wake as Love connects with 8.4 seconds to go. Fitting that it ends in the hands of Ty Appleby. 35 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, and a big win at home for Wake Forest. Steve Forbes, his Wake Forest team now 8-6 in the ACC, 3 straight home wins against North Carolina. That does it from Winston-Salem. For Debbie Antonelli and our entire crew, Mike Monaco getting